Hello students, in this video I am going to teach you the nature of verb and different types. And if you go through this video until the last moment, you will surely understand how to use verb properly and how to distinguish different types of verbs. I am Vikas sir of Kandi Raj High School, Murshidabad, Kandi Murshidabad. What is a verb? First you need to learn this. Verb is the most essential part of a sentence. It is the most essential parts of speech. A verb is a word that denotes an action or a state of being or owning something. This is the definition, and you must remember that. First, it denotes an action. That means an activity, doing something. It may be physical or mental activity. A state of being, the position, the condition somebody is in, is the state of being, or owning something, to have or to get something, to own something. Now then, a verb helps in forming a sentence or a clause. A verb is very essential in a sentence. I said it earlier, and it also helps to form a clause. So, generally speaking, without verb we cannot form a sentence or a clause, but in phrase we do not need a verb. Examples: he is reading. In the first example, there are two verbs, is and reading. Second, we play cricket, play is one. There are two main types of verbs. What are they? Look at them. First one is main or principal verb. Main verb or principal verb. And second one is auxiliary or helping verb. I will discuss them in detail now. Look, what is main verb? Main verbs have meaning. They have a meaning when they are used in a sentence, and they influence the meaning of the sentence itself. Main verbs can be used alone. That is also a very important point. Main verbs are generally used alone without the help of any other verb. They can be written in a sentence. They can also be used with the help of auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, but they are generally used alone. And sometimes in different tenses we use them in combination with supporting or helping verbs. Examples: he is a good boy. Is the present form of be verb, so it is explaining the state of being, the person, how he is. So he's a good boy, that is. And he has a book. Has is the present form of have, so it indicates owning or to have something. He plays football, that indicates action of physical type, physical action. Now helping verbs. Helping verbs add to the meaning of the main verb. They have no meaning of their own. They add or extend the meaning of the main verb. They just modify the meaning of the main verb. Those are helping verbs. Helping verbs help the main verbs to form different tenses, voices, and moods. You know different tenses: past tense, present tense, and future tense, and there are different types of past tenses. There are two types of voices: active and passive voices, and moods, three types of moods: subjunctive mood, imperative, and indicative mood. Now, the example: simple helping verbs are be, have, and do. Be verb, you know, am, is, are, was, were, been, being. Have, there are three forms: have, has, and had. Do, does, and did. Do is used to form negative and questions. Negatives and questions, you must remember. And we use both be and have to make tenses. He is writing a letter. In the first sentence, is the auxiliary verb and writing is the main verb. Always the main verb succeeds or follows the auxiliary verb. In the second sentence, can is the auxiliary verb and win is the main verb. Main verb is always placed after the auxiliary verb in any form of sentences. So you must remember that the last one of a number of verbs is always the main verb. Main verbs are generally of two types. What are they? Look, Transitive verb. What is transitive verb? Transitive verbs always take an object to express the sense clearly. You know object. If you ask a question to the verb, by what or whom, the answer you get, if you get an answer, that is transitive verb. So transitive verbs always take an object to express the sense clearly. When there is an object, the verb is, of course, a transitive verb. So transitive verbs are always getting an answer. Now look at the examples. I did it, he helped me. In the first sentence, I did it, what did I do? In the second sentence, whom did he help? In both cases, we get an answer. Intransitive verbs are the opposite of transitive verbs, and they never take an object. When there is no object in a sentence, then the verb is intransitive. He is running very fast. He is running very fast. Here there is no object. Now look at the examples. He ran quickly. He ran quickly. If you ask question, what run, what did he run, or whom did he run, you do not get any answer. So it has no object. So it is intransitive verb. In the second example also, arrived. You do not get any answer. You do not get any object. So it is intransitive verb in both the cases. Ran and arrived are the two examples. There are many more examples. And transitive verbs can be used intransitively, and intransitive verbs can also be used transitively when they are followed by preposition, especially in cases of phrasal verbs. You must remember that. Now verbs can further be divided into subgroups, other groups too. Finite verb, that is very important. This verb changes its form according to the person and number of the subject of the sentence and tense of the verb. If tense changes, the verb changes. If the person of the subject changes or number of the subject changes, the verb changes its form. If you go through the examples, you will clearly understand the difference. And what is finite verb? The nature of finite verb will be clearly understandable. He likes sweets, he likes sweets. The tense changes. First one is simple present tense and the second one is simple past tense. With the change of the tense, the form of the verb is also changed. Now look at the second. I play cricket, he plays cricket. Here the person of the subject, I is first person while he is third person. The verb form changes. So it is finite verb. Finite verb changes with the person. So here the person changes, play also changes its form. In the last sentence, Ram plays football, we play football. The number, Ram is singular while we is plural. So with the change of number, the form of the verb is also changing here. So you must remember these three conditions: tense, person and number of the subject, and tense of the verb. If they change, then the verb changes. Non-finite verb, you must remember, non-finite verbs do not change in any case. They do not change their form in any case. They work not as verbs, but as nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. You know the functions of nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. They work mostly as nouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Sometimes they help the main verb to form tenses. Then those finite verbs are always non-finite verbs. Those non-finite verbs are helping verbs. They can never be main verbs. Non-finite verbs can never be main verbs when used alone in a sentence. Swimming is a good exercise. Swimming is the form of gerund. Gerund means verb, base form of verb plus ing. When used as noun is gerund. Participle, here he saw a running train. Participle, it is used as an adjective, while gerund is used as a noun. Running train, run plus ing. That is participle. When used as adjective, that is participle. Infinitive, you know, to plus base form of verb is infinitive. These three forms are generally non-finite verbs. Further classification of verbs. There are other forms of verbs too. Accent verb or even verb. What is action verb? Action verbs indicate that some action or event is taking place. You can see the changes that is happening. The sun rises in the east. It is happening. Somebody is running in the field. Somebody is playing. Action verbs have continuous tense. You must remember this point. Action verbs can be used in continuous tenses. In the first example, he is running fast. Running is action verb because it denotes an action. It denotes something is happening, something is taking place before our eyes, something is changing. And they go to school. That is also a movement. That is also an action. That is also an activity. That is also doing something. So it is even verb. Stative verb, state verb, or non-progressive verbs. These verbs indicate a state of being. The condition or the description of something is the state of being. Possession, to have something, mental action, doing some mental activity, and sensations. Sensations, you know, taste, feeling, seeing, like those things. We have 5 sense organs, and those 5 sense organs give us sensations. So these things, when we describe them with a verb, that is stative verb or non-progressive verb, they have no continuous tense, so they are called non-progressive verbs because they do not have any continuous form, any continuous tense. Examples, those verbs, you must remember these the verbs. These are used mostly in our common practices. We do find them in our texts and we do use them very frequently in our daily life. So you must remember these verbs. These are non-progressive verbs, stative verbs, or state verbs. Appear, belong, see, hear, feel, seem, smell, look, taste, become, have, cost, think, need, wish, understand, realize, love, and hate. There are many more examples. You must remember these ones. Now seeing, if I say I am seeing somebody, that means I'm not looking at somebody, but I am just meeting somebody. So it changes its meaning when it is used in continuous tense. And we should not use continuous tense with these verbs. And you generally do not find continuous tense forms used with these verbs generally. And if we use, that will be a wrong answer, wrong use. So you must be very, very careful about using these verbs. Now, third form of the verb, linking or copular verbs. These verbs are very interesting verbs. These are verbs which are used to describe the subject, not its action. That means it extends the meaning. It tells us something about the subject, how the subject is, what the subject is, like those things. It explains the meaning of the subject. It extends the meaning. It adds to the meaning. It describes the subject. They do not take object. Linking verbs do not have object, but they have complement. Complement means that completes the action, that completes something, the function of the verb, that is called complement. So, linking verbs always take complements, but they do not take any object. Object, you do not find answer to the question whom or what. Now look at those examples. Many of the linking verbs are static verbs. Appear, be, become, seem, smell, stay, sound, taste, remain. You must remember these ones simply because they are used very frequently in our daily life, in our text. Now look at the first sentence. He looks very smart. In the first sentence, very smart. Who is very smart? He. Very smart describes the subject he. In the second sentence, a doctor describes Ram. These two words, Ram and a doctor, these two things are added by the, linked by the verb is. So is a linking or copular verb. Looks, he, and very smart are added by looks. So you must remember that looks and is are linking verbs. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, share, or comment, like, And if you need something, you must comment under the video. I will answer all your queries. Thank you.